right, this is going to be a step-by-step cold calling guide for beginners and new sales development representatives. This is going to be very different than what you see taught out there by sales gurus all over LinkedIn and YouTube. We're not going to be using permission-based openers. Hey, do you have 27 seconds for me to tell you why I'm calling? We're not going to have these long, complex cold call scripts with multiple steps and multiple different outcomes and directions that it could take you. This is going to be an easy, simple, repeatable framework that's designed to help you move fast at a high quality and is proven to work with the hundreds of reps that I've coached. So let's get into it. But first, I have an exciting new channel update for you guys. I don't know if I've ever done a channel update or announcement before, so this is a first for me, but I have an exciting new partnership that I know is gonna add a lot of value to you guys based on the questions and comments that I get on all of my videos and all of you that reach out to me. And the partnership is with Higher Levels, which is run by Eric and Chris over at Tech Sales with Higher Levels, who I know a lot of you are familiar with because I can see it in my analytics. If you're not, I'll link to their channel below. You should definitely go check them out. But their platform, Higher Levels, has helped literally hundreds of people break into tech sales jobs at companies that they were dreaming of working with and setting themselves up to succeed in tech sales. Their courses also help you succeed in the SDR role once you've broken in. I get comments all the time, how do I break in? Or do you have any courses or books or recommendations? This is what I would recommend. These courses are made by actual President's Club sales reps that have a proven track record, not these LinkedIn influencers with questionable track records, peddling things that may or may not have worked for them. And you get access to their community, which is really vibrant. There's hundreds of tech sales reps just like you that you can network with. You can learn about the different companies they work at, exchange ideas. There's weekly live training sessions with the instructors themselves. It's a really good program. I've been inside the platform for the past few weeks and I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing. So in my opinion, this is a no-brainer investment. This is something I would have recommended to myself when I started 6 years ago. The investment you make in the platform is going to pay 10 times over, whether it helps you land the job that you want or it helps you succeed in the SDR role and moves you from the middle of the pack to the upper quartile, which can be the difference of thousands of dollars over the course of the year. Not to mention, you end up getting the promotion that you want, probably in the territory that you want too. So there's gonna be more to come on this. I wanted to let you all know, but I'm very excited about it and excited about working with Eric and Chris. But with that, let's get into the video. So I'm gonna start with the base, which is mindset. And don't click away, I promise this isn't a Tony Robbins style mindset pump up video, but mindset is so important on cold calling because it trickles down in your language and your tonality, which is 90% of your success on cold calls. So the first mindset you need to instill in yourself is that you are valuable to prospects. Literally, you as an SDR are valuable to the person you're calling because these people have initiatives and priorities that need to be solving. They have business problems, and your company exists because it solves challenges in the market. Your company wouldn't exist and you wouldn't have a job if it wasn't making money because they actually solve problems. That's why they exist. So you are calling them as their point of contact. They don't know who to reach out to. They have these problems and they're like, I'll get around to it. You're literally saying, here I am, here's what we do. Let's set some time later this week. And you've made it easy for them and put it on a silver platter for them. Other way to think about it is you're not bothering them. When I was an SDR manager, this is something I saw a lot of reps struggle with. They felt like they were bothering prospects. It caused them to have an upward inflecting tone, and it causes them to use what I call passive language, which sounds something like, if you're interested, I'd love to set up some time next week if you're open to it. You put these little caveats on there because you're not confident in what you're actually asking for because you feel like you're bothering them. So get this out of your head. That's the first step. The other key mindset is that you're selling time. This is a big one for a lot of reps. A lot of reps get cold call anxiety and get overwhelmed by cold calling because they think they need to be ready to sell their company's solution and understand every challenge their persona could possibly be facing and how their product aligns with that. You're not doing that on a cold call. On a cold call, you've generally just totally interrupted someone's day. They're probably very busy. They're in the middle of their own workday with challenges they're focused on. You don't need to sell your whole solution. What you're really selling is time. You're selling a meeting. You're trying to give off just enough value. You caught this person out of the blue and convincing them that it's worth setting aside additional time to actually discuss this in more detail. That's where you can start actually selling your solution and where you can work with your account executive and actually prepare for the meeting and run a better call there than you ever could on an off-the-cuff cold call. A huge pet peeve of mine is when I hear from SDRs, well, my account executive won't take a meeting unless I had an extensive conversation with them on the phone. 9.9 out of 10 account executives are not so busy that they can't take a 30-minute meeting that you set up just because you didn't have an extensive conversation with them. It's not a reasonable expectation that you've had a 15-minute discovery call with them before you've set the meeting. I would understand in a scenario where you sell financial software and you set a meeting with a random persona like a marketing specialist, like sure, I'd be like, why are we taking this call? But if you sell financial software and you set a meeting with a financial analyst and you didn't have a 10-minute discussion with them and the AE's like, yeah, I'm not taking that one, you didn't really get much out of the call, that's not an acceptable answer, and you could call that out to your management. And I've seen many instances where reps are hesitant at first when their SDRs are setting these sorts of meetings where you've sold time. But I found that once you start setting a lot of them, they're very quickly like, okay, this is actually really good and making my life easy. So you're selling time, you're selling the meeting, you can have the discussion on the call if they're open to it and they sound ready to talk. But most people are going to give you that defensive tone, and all you can get out of them is an accepted meeting for a later date. And then the last mindset is that these people are just NPCs, they're non-playing characters. You can have the worst blowout call, I've had many of them, and you're never gonna see or talk to any of these people again. All they were was a little chance at setting a meeting, which is gonna directly help your KPIs and make you money. If they say no, they're gonna forget about even the worst calls a minute later. They're never gonna know who you are, they're not gonna tell anyone about it. It's really not a big deal. So these are the important mindsets to internalize when you're starting out making cold calls. Next, I want to talk about my cold calling framework. And on this channel, I preach less is more. You want your cold call scripts to be very simple, repeatable, so something you don't have to think hard about or have to think differently for every cold call you make. You should easily be able to call one person and then call another person right after using mostly the same script, maybe just changing their name. And the goal is to be targeted at scale. It's to move fast. That's the quantity piece, at as high of a quality as possible. You want to be balancing both. Another big pet peeve of mine that I see out there all the time on LinkedIn and just based on the SDRs I've talked to and coached at different companies are these out of touch sales VPs and sales organizations that set KPIs like, I need 10 opportunities from you a month and 30 booked meetings, but also I only want you using extremely targeted messaging. It's like, what? It's the leadership's job to align your KPIs with the strategic goals for the business. If they need 10 opportunities from you and 30 meetings a month, you better believe you need to make a lot of calls and a lot of cold emails, which means you don't have time to sit down for an hour and research every contact's entire background and their whole career history and come up with just the right little nuggets that are going to land on a cold call. You're not going to be able to do that for every cold call. Your job is to hit the KPIs and the metrics that they've assigned to you. In the SDR role, anyone telling you that quantity doesn't matter does not either understand their organization or does not have your best interest at heart. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think sometimes it's just they don't understand the KPIs that they're setting. But this is the key framework to keep in mind. Simple, repeatable, targeted at scale. Next is the actual structure of the cold call script, which I prefer to call and think of as a value statement. Value statements are similar and sound similar to cold call scripts, but there's a few key distinctions. The first one being that we are gonna take control. It is my belief that it is the burden of proof on us to deliver value first to the prospect. And you do this by answering 3 questions in 30 seconds. These are the subconscious questions when you've just interrupted someone's day out of the blue. They weren't expecting it. They don't know who you are. They're already starting to get that defensive tone. This is how you get them to drop the defensive tone. You need to simply tell them who you are, why you're calling, and what you want, which is time on their calendar. I'm not going to go through a full example in this video. I have tons of videos on my channel that do that. I'll link to one right here. But most of what's taught out there by sales trainers does not involve you taking control. They'll tell you things like you should be listening to the prospect and asking a bunch of questions. This is an out of touch take. The average person who picks up a cold call does not have time or want to listen to you ask a bunch of open-ended questions and talk to you. It's almost an arrogant perspective. You're not trying to be arrogant, but the idea that you can just cold call someone and they have time to ask you like 4 or 5 open-ended qualifying questions and they're just going to take it survey style, that's when you get these calls with defensive tones. You're battling the whole call and they end up just hanging up on you before you even get a chance to tell them why you're calling. This also takes place at even the opening. A lot of sales trainers teach the permission-based openers, things like, hey, do you have 30 seconds to chat, or is now a good time for you to talk? I don't like this because we're not taking control. We're putting them in the driver's seat. We're creating what I call variance. There's a million different answers that they could give. They're gonna say, no, I'm taking my kid to soccer practice, or I'm going into a meeting right now. Call me back at a different time. I choose to give what I call an assumptive formality. Hey Jem, this is Connor Murray calling from X company. How are you? pretty much most of the responses I get back are in the range of, good, how are you? Some sound a little confused. Whatever it is, it's okay. I'm just gonna go right into what I call my value statement and telling them, here's who I am, here's how I help people like you, which is what challenges you solve and how you solve them, and then going for the kill right away. This is what gets you a shot on net and gets you on the playing field. It's a non-zero probability of booking a meeting if you ask for time on the calendar. So I preach doing this earlier on in the call, not waiting till after you've asked a bunch of questions. And now we'll get into handling objections if they don't say yes immediately to your request for time on their calendar. Hopefully you won't be shocked when I reveal that my strategy for handling objections is to also sell time. It's a two-step process that I call acknowledge and reaffirm. Acknowledge their concern and tell them why it makes sense to meet anyway. So if you get an objection, a common one like, hey, thanks for reaching out. We already work with a competitor, so I don't think it makes sense to meet. I'm not gonna start asking them questions like, how's that competitor going for you? And are you open to any new initiatives in the future? You're not gonna convince them of this stuff on a cold call, but this is what's commonly taught, is to start asking probing questions and getting to the root of whatever their potential pain is. Instead of doing that, here's how I would respond to that. I would say, got it, yeah, that's actually why I was reaching out. We work with customers of X competitor all the time, so this is more just to get introduced and aligned going forward. If there's ever a fit, we can move ahead, but I think it at least makes sense to set up a 15-minute call just to introduce you to the rest of my team. And it's not logically what you just said there that's gonna book the meeting or at least give you a chance at booking the meeting. One, you just sold time again, you gave yourself another shot of booking the meeting because you asked for it, but it's more that tonality and that assumptiveness. A lot of people are caught off guard by that in a good way. They're like, oh, this person's actually serious and confident about what they're reaching out about. They're not consciously thinking this, but this is what their body is registering. And I've seen this work many times. And again, easy and repeatable. You don't have to be prepared for all these different outcomes. You just have to be prepared for the most common objections that you typically face and start with the top 3 to 5. We don't really have budget right now. We don't have any initiatives or priorities. We're too busy. Reach out down the line, things like that. And if they still say no to that, which many will, it takes practice. You have to get good at the downward inflection, and some simply need a little bit more of a conversation before agreeing to a meeting. That is when you can start asking value-based, open-ended questions designed to get them talking. This is the key difference, is a lot of what I see taught out there says to do this at the beginning of the call. This is how you lead off with questions. I say that's an arrogant perspective and you haven't delivered any value. You haven't told them who you are, why you called, or what you want yet. So you need to do that first. Let them know what the purpose of the call would be. And if they're still engaging with you, then you can start asking some value-based questions designed to get them talking, but you always want to be pulling it back to selling time. I don't want to be having this 10 to 15-minute discussion on a cold call. I would have a much better chance of them and convincing them of my value proposition, or at least that we should start a cycle on a discovery call when we have time set aside and I can properly prepare. I don't want to do that on a cold call. So find me another channel that's talking about this stuff. I just get animated because I've seen this work for people, and I also just see what's taught out there not working for people, and these reps who want to do well so bad just being taught the wrong techniques by the wrong people. So hopefully this helped. If it did, hit the like button and I'll see you on the next one.